Pikmin, Shigeru Miyamoto's gardening mistake that got out of hand and is now infesting his home. But really, Nintendo actually made a real Pikmin flower. It's called the Sutera cordata, or the Bacopa plant. It's just, a small little white flower with a yellow middle. It's just like in the game. All that for a game that nobody played. You play as the guy from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Captain Olimar, venturing throughout space when he's suddenly hit out of the sky by an asteroid. He crash lands on a mysterious planet, and his spaceship bursts into 30 pieces across the land. Olimar wakes up next to his destroyed ship and meets these aliens. Well, if it's their planet, I guess Olimar's the alien? Anyway, he meets these plant-like creatures and names them Pikmin, after his favorite brand of carrot, the Pikpik flower. Bro, that's like if I discovered an animal and called it the dolmen. Whatever. He enslaves, recruits their help. The Pikmin work together like ants and carry whatever treasure and ship parts you find back to your ship. Easy, right? Well, you got these assholes standing in your way, and since you're just a little man, you can't do much. But with your Pikmin, you can beat them at your foes, and the Pikmin swarm the enemy and beat them to death. Take the enemy's corpse back to the onion and boom, you got yourself more Pikmin. This will come in handy since most of the wildlife is, well, wild, and I'll stop at nothing to kill you and eat your Pikmin. Adding on, if you like Majora's Mask, you're gonna love this. Every day you explore the planet you're timed, and it's not like the couple hours you get in Majora's Mask. You have 13 minutes to look for parts and treasures. Then you gotta skedaddle your way back before nighttime. That's when the land is infested with monsters. Be sure to have all your Pikmin before the end of the day or there'll be dinner for the nightlife. The colorful baby Nintendo game went from
several little happy trees
to pressure. Your conclusion stressed.
The only time of levity is every night when Olimar flies his ship into the atmosphere and recollects about his day. And even then, Olimar's captain logs are pretty depressing at times, like how he misses his family and how he feels regret for all the Pikmin that have lost their lives helping him. Oh, and you have 30 days to find at least 25 crucial ship parts, or Olimar will die due to oxygen poisoning. But no pressure. If you're smart and plan properly, you'll be able to find them before 30 days. As for me, I got 29 pieces out of 30. Not bad. Now, if you're as smart as a Bulborb, you won't be able to get all the spaceship pieces on time, and you'll get the bad ending, where Olimar dies and the Pikmin drag his lifeless corpse into the onion, and he becomes a Pikmin. Poor bastard. Now, let me tell you why this game is satisfying. The feeling of getting ship parts back before the clock runs out is pure bliss. The puzzles and enemies can get annoying, so seeing your little army overcome the challenges is such a great feeling. Plucking Pikmin out of the ground sounds great, and when they drink nectar, ooh, you know they're ready to kick some ass. And at the end of each day, you'll get your results, and it's accompanied by the most stress-relieving song in the game. You feel like giving a big sigh of relief because, whew, you're out of there, you're safe. Hajime Wakai really did a good job on the soundtrack, because he really knew what Shigeru was going to put you through.
I said with mustard.
Make it 2.
control is good.
Pikmin 2, Olimar is back and excited to see his family. When it's revealed that the company Olimar works for has gone into deep debt, the president of the company sees that the bottle cap Olimar brought back is worth a good amount of cash. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the president sends off Olimar and the obligatory new second player Louis back to the same alien planet to look for treasures to pay off the president's debts. Can I just take a minute to point out Olimar hasn't even been back for 5 minutes? This man hasn't seen his wife and kids, and the president has the gall to immediately send him back? Poor Olimar probably just wants to keep his job to support his family. We truly live in a society. Anyway, they manage to crash their way back to the alien planet, and Olimar and Louis awake on a snowy hill where they thankfully find Pikmin and their first treasure. That's bottle cap. Oxygen poisoning.
Oh my God, I was wrong. It was Earth all along.
This is when the existential crisis kicks in. I know it's just a game, but if we go by its lore, all the treasures Olimar and Louis find used to belong to someone that's long gone by now. You! Treasures like the Game & Watch and baking powder hit close to home because those are things I have in real life. Seeing Peach's crown is funny, like damn, this used to belong to a long dead cosplayer. RIP. Instead of ship parts, you look for treasures to pay off the 10,000 Poco debt, which translates to $10 US. Geez, here, don't even worry about it. Just like in the first game, you scour the surface for treasure while defeating enemies. Soon you'll discover the new caves. Caves are a number of challenges you take whenever you enter. Olimar and company jump down, and with the help of the research pod, you can take underground treasure back to the surface. Each floor has its own unique challenge that keeps you on your toes. It ranges from easy to the further you go, the harder it gets, and slowly you'll start losing a lot of Pikmin if you're not careful. It's all worth it though, because that's where the real moneymakers are. So take your time finding the treasure on each floor, because you're not timed whenever you go into a cave. Which, you know, makes sense obviously. If you do lose all your Pikmin though, that results in Pikmin extinction, and you lose all the treasure you found in that cave. So be careful. Luckily, Nintendo added a slick new feature in case that happens, or you lose a couple of Pikmin. It's called... Also, a quick tip. If you're revisiting a cave for treasure you missed, you can leave your Pikmin with the research pod and look for the hole leading down. You won't leave any Pikmin behind, helping with floors packed with enemies, and if you're a paranoid individual who saves twice in RPGs, rest assured you can leave one captain behind at the research pod with all your Pikmin, while the other one looks for the exit, reassuring no Pikman is left behind. And escaping early with your Pikmin is always a wise choice if defeat is inevitable. Better to see another day than to die in a fight you couldn't win. Oh, and back to the subject at hand. The background of the caves is what really sells the post-apocalyptic atmosphere. From a regular-looking cave to rusted metal somewhere in the desert, a bathroom floor, or an old brick house, it really does feel scary to think that all these human structures are long abandoned and that nature is taking over. The feeling of loneliness, that nothing is around you for hundreds of miles. Except if it's in the submerged castle. You get a visit from your friend, the Water Wrath, that stops at nothing to crunch you and your Pikmin. It only appears if you spend more than 5 minutes on a floor, and then it locks in and stops at nothing. But nothing beats the feeling of quickly going down floor by floor and finally getting to kick its watery ass. Yes! While we're talking about satisfaction, seeing the Poco number go up and the complete cave and surface numbers always puts a smile on my face. And when you get all the treasures in an area, the treasure radar dies down, letting you know you can chill. Which is really good, because after a while that radar gets really annoying. And escaping after winning a boss fight on the water stream is always a nice, satisfying sight. Later in the game, you'll get the Rocket Fists, and you'll go from the bottom of the food chain all the way to the top, baby, because now Olimar can throw hands and can beat enemies to death, reserving Pikmin for better use. Adding to that, you can use enemies to your advantage to take out other enemies. Play smarter, not harder. The battle hums the Pikmin do always cheers me on. And yes, the day's result theme is back. Let's go! Alright, last one. Pikmin 3. Meet Alf and Charlie. Somehow Thanos missed their planet and now their people are starving because they ran out of resources. So now it's up to the three of them to get food from PNF 404, the same planet from the first two games. How convenient. This is how I originally experienced Pikmin, except it was on the Wii U, with touchpad controls. I did not play it on the TV. And let me tell you, they got rid of the caves in this one. Like, what's the point? It's gonna take more than HD graphics to impress me. At this point, the rest of the game doesn't matter. It's all about getting the fruit so you can get the juice. And when it mixes, damn, call me Jamba, because I love that juice. Alright, this game already knows how to satisfy. Even from the beginning cutscene, the references to Mario Bros.
Investigate the planet, which they named PNF 404.
Duck Hunt are so good.
Something.
And don't get me started on the title screen. When the ship crashes onto Earth and makes a dot on the eye for Pikmin, ooh, it gives me chills every time. Oh, also the sound of rock Pikmin breaking glass is top tier. God, I started these games thinking I wasn't gonna like them, like they were just one of Nintendo's weird experimental games. But honestly, they're so good. You feel every victory you earn in these games. Something about having a little army of dudes taking my stuff from point A to point B is really satisfying. Really gets the signals in my brain going, you know? Out of the three, I'd recommend Pikmin 2 and Pikmin 3. 3 being the easiest to get into because it's on the Switch and it's a lot easier than the first two games, but still really satisfying, especially with the juice. While 2 has to be my personal favorite for being more challenging, and the addition of product placement and real-world items being the treasure adds a layer of spooky atmosphere I didn't know the series needed. Man, this whole series is based on finding treasure, but maybe the real treasure were the Pikmin we met along the way. Thanks for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe if you want to hear me talk about cool games like this. And comment below what things you find satisfying in Pikmin or your favorite games. This has been the Super Bagel, signing off.